Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for this Culture of Care Summit presentation titled Wearing Multiple Hats in Your Daily Life. Take action to create better work-life balance. And today, Dr. Christy McMahon is joining me as we present this hopefully useful topic to you all. Today's learning objectives are explain work-life balance, explore work-life conflict. We will also examine physiological and psychological effects of work-life balance. In addition, we will explore cultural considerations of work commitments and examine poor as well as healthy coping strategies to create work-life balance. You may wonder, what really is work-life balance? Well, according to research, work-life balance is defined as the desire on both the employee and the employer to achieve a very good balance between workplace obligations and personal responsibilities. Work-life conflict results when either the demands at work or the demands at home get out of balance and become incompatible. So you may imagine this as a scale where either work consistently pushes the family life down or vice versa. So really when they're in balance, that's what we're looking for, and that would create the optimal outcomes. Work-life conflict can result in three main areas. So one is role overload, which is either the overloads of the demands, either at home or at work, are out of whack, so to speak. So at home, at work, we each have roles. We might be obviously, we have our role at work, the positions that we need to fulfill, and all the job duties that we need to complete. And then at home, we might be parents or spouses, but we also might be caretakers to individuals. And so maybe full-time students still, or maybe we have been full-time students. There might be certain obligations that we have in the community, and these all can create an overload in the roles that we have. So work can either interfere with our personal lives or our family lives, and also vice versa, where our family life or personal life can interfere with our roles at work. And this is especially demanding or perceived as extremely demanding if we don't have that social support that is really needed to maybe help us out during a really busy time. And of course, work-life conflict can happen occasionally. Maybe there's a huge project that we just have to finish at work, or maybe there's a big event that we have coming up in our family life. So this could be called maybe an acute event or situation, maybe some that is very temporary. And of course, that is life. But especially when that happens on a chronic basis and that conflict consistently is in our life, then we become a little more worried and need to be very aware of that.
Thank you, Sandra. So let's take a look at some specific stressors that occur at work that can lead to a work-life imbalance. So for most of us, work is a major stressor in our life, and this often is due to work overload, as Sandra mentioned, specific work conflicts, some environmental conditions, if you have job insecurity, or even office politics, like if you don't get along with your coworkers, or if you have some other issues at work that is constantly going on. Some specific factors that can contribute to work-life imbalance be like long work hours. If you're just spending too much time at work and you just don't feel like you have enough time at home with your family, It could be inflexible work hours, if you need to take off for a doctor's appointment or, spend some time at your child's school and your employer just doesn't want to work with you with allowing you some time and personal time to do that. A poor work environment, that could be from like having a noisy work environment, or you may just not feel safe at work. So that can contribute to stress, as well as parental demands. As you're a parent, you have responsibilities at home with your children. I know for myself, when my children were sick, that created a lot of stress just trying to decide if I could take off work to be at home or if my husband could. So those parental demands definitely adds to your stress. And some studies have also found that when you have multiple roles and responsibilities, they have a more negative impact on women in the workforce, more so than men. Usually that's because women do have those responsibilities at home, but that is not always the case. But definitely when you have a lot going on at home, it does create a negative impact on your life. Let's take a look at some physiological impacts of stress on the workplace. So physiological means, what's occurring within the body, what kind of symptoms that you might be having from the stress. And that could lead to hypertension or high blood pressure. It also increases your cholesterol levels. Both of those can result in heart disease. You may experience musculoskeletal disorders, and that could be from, excuse me, tension in the shoulders. You get a lot of muscle tension, and that results in, it could result in headaches or just a lot of neck and back pain. Decreased immune functions, and when that occurs, it can lead to sickness, and that also then occurs with multiple days that you're out of the office, and then that just makes a lot more work stress on top of that. And then you can also have injury, and that could occur in the workplace or at the home. So psychological impact on stress in the workplace, that can lead to low self-confidence. So you may not feel like you're doing your job as well as you can when you're under a lot of stress. It could be increased job tension, lower job satisfaction, depression, and anxiety. And so then as a result, if you're feeling all of those things, then you may not want to go to work. So you're increased absenteeism. And then as a result, again, that leads to poor job performance. Some other signs that you may have a poor work-life balance could be some feelings of unhappiness, and that could be unhappiness at work or at home or both. You may start to neglect some of your health and well-being. You're too tired from working. You don't want to go out with any family or friends. You're lacking personal development. Your physical and mental health may suffer. You're not exercising like you should, or meditating or doing yoga. Then you begin to feel irritable. So you're not getting enough personal time, and then that leads to irritability at work. And then that often transfers to at home. And then we often take that out on our family and friends. And then we notice that we're just not able to shut off those thoughts about work. That's all we can think about.
Thank you, Christy. And here are also some cultural considerations that we wanted you to ponder on. And the facts are that Americans are overworked compared to their cultural counterparts. In 1938, the Fair Labor Standards Act reduced the work week down from 80 plus hours to 40 hours. That was mind-blowing to me. On the downside, Americans are making $50 less a week per week, adjusting for inflation compared to earlier years. So taking a bit of a dip in pay, but yet working more hours. And compared to other countries, when we look at countries such as Britain, Americans worked 184 hours more than Japanese, 294 hours more than the British, and 442 hours more than Germans per year. And being from Germany, so that last fact was really, really eye-opening. Furthermore, Americans are working with no vacation oftentimes, which is, of course, increasing the risk for burnout. And of course, higher stress comes with that. And then on the severe level, we can see burnout, where oftentimes, that can lead to absenteeism in the workplace, but also other challenges that we can see physiological and also psychologically that can impact now not only our time at work, but of course also our family life and the life of our loved ones. There are some unhealthy coping strategies for work-life balance. And if you see some of these listed, we might all have taken one of these strategies, unfortunately, when we felt at a very high level of stress. And I always say that awareness is the first step toward action. So please just be mindful of these. Don't try to judge where you are or perceive yourself as less than. I would say that we probably each have opportunities for improvement, but we wanted to put them out there for you just so that you can be more aware of them and use some healthier coping options that we will cover in the next slide after this. So stay tuned. So here are some unhealthy ways to deal with occupational stress. Lashing out at family or co-workers, and we might get a little irritable, and before we know it, we might have said something or raised our voice at somebody, and we otherwise would not have done that, of course, and that is due to that heightened sense of stress. Maybe we like to grab, this drink that might make us feel better or calmer in the moment. But however, it can lead to unhealthy, of course, behaviors. And so drinking, smoking, or the use of other recreational drugs can present a problem. Oversleeping and a lack of self-care can be problematic. And then also there's overeating as well as undereating. So not eating enough, and undereating also includes not taking in sufficient nutrients. And the same can be with, grabbing either the wrong foods or too many. It's just the quantity and the quality are both critical to consider here. Aggressive driving can be problematic, and also watching too much television or spending too much time on social media. So definitely something to be aware of, to see how much time we're really spending on these digital devices. And of course, we might withdraw from family or friends, not going out anymore, and social support is extremely critical. So when we tend to do that, it's time for an intervention. So please be aware of those so that you can use some healthier coping strategies. One of them is definitely to be more mindful so that we can create better work-life balance. And in order to be more mindful, we need to be able to self-regulate where our attention goes. So the attention that we have at work, also at home, and then to be able to regulate that to where we are staying within that healthier realm. Of course, awareness, as I mentioned earlier, is key and the first step toward really making these next critical to choosing then a healthier coping strategy. So being aware of where we are now, or what behaviors we have now, and then we can create a plan for intervention. We need to be really present in the moment to moment so that we can really observe our thoughts as well as our feelings and the sensations. And then always try to stay curious and open to what is going on in the moment, again, such as your thoughts, feelings, and sensations, and be receptive to really accept these of where you are. Again, nobody's perfect. We are all evolving and learning as we go, but to really accept where you are right now is important to then be able to take action. And a good mindfulness practice really improves your state of mindfulness and also can allow you to control your attention and thoughts. And there are some resources at the end of this presentation that you can use to increase your mindfulness.
So continuing with the mindfulness interventions, there are two evidence-based practices that have been shown to reduce and improve work-life balance. The first one is called cognitive emotional segmentation. And basically that's saying try to put work in a box and your home life in a box and try not to intertwine them. While of course this is extremely difficult to do, especially if you work from home, but try to keep your work at work and your home at home. And then oftentimes, I know we have thoughts of work that kind of enter our minds while we're working at home, but try to use something that's called a thought stopping technique. And when you start to do that, just tell yourself to stop thinking about work. And then you can use some deep breathing or other practices that can help you stay in the moment. The other one is called psychological detachment from work. So again, you're trying to be mindful of your work-related events and try not to ruminate about those work issues when you're at home. Try to redirect your attention and be present in the moment and give your time to your family. Try to give your family that quality time instead of letting your thoughts continuously drift back to work. And sometimes if you've got a big project and a lot's on your mind and you're worried that you might forget to do something at work tomorrow, get out a journal or a piece of paper and just start writing down. Give yourself some reminders, get those thoughts out of your head so you can set that aside and then give your time and your space back to your family. So these two practices, they've been shown to help improve your mental health, improve your physical health, metacognition, it enhances your relationships, and helps to improve your work performance. Some other strategies to improve your work-life balance. So two things, biofeedback and body scanning. It's just kind of assessing how you are feeling. What are you feeling in the moment? Are you stressed? Are you nervous? Are you anxious or jittery? Being aware of that, then you can apply some of these other techniques like diaphragmatic breathing, which is a form of deep breathing. You can try massage or stretching, Pilates, meditation. Some people like to turn to prayer or music. Pets, they are also a wonderful way to reduce stress. Just sitting and holding your pet. Your pet has been known to reduce heart rate and reduce blood pressure. You can try volunteering or exercise, again, journaling or drawing. You can even create a work-life balance contract with yourself or significant other and say, yes, I am going to do this and do these certain strategies by a certain date. You can talk to your supervisor, ask them for suggestions. Maybe they can try to be a little more flexible with your work hours, reduce that time at work if possible. Make sure you're getting adequate sleep. And then finally, seek professional help. There are many wonderful counselors out there that can also provide you and give you some guidance on improving your work-life balance. And finally, a few time management tips and techniques. So, managing your time is just one simple way to really reduce your stress. There are so many times that we have these really long to-do lists. I know I create one every single week. I have things that I want to get done every day and every week, every month. And we know that we can't get everything done at one time or get as many activities done as we'd like to. So we have to change our perception and look at our list and say, okay, I may not have time to write an entire week one of a course revision that I'm doing, but I might have time to sit down and write a discussion prompt. So just look and see what you can have time to do and then get that at least marked off of your list. Make sure that you use your time wisely and that you're doing some worthwhile work. For me, I try not to get into my classrooms until later in the day because I can really get lost there just reading discussion posts and responding. But I want to make sure that I get my other tasks done too. So I try to use my time very wisely. Try to create a fixed time to end your day. This can be very difficult working from home and you have multiple projects and you want to move one from one project to the next or just get one more item marked off your list. But be very conscious of your time, and if you can quit at that time of the day and save that task for the next day, be sure to do so. Finally, make sure you schedule your social media time. It's so easy to get drawn into social media, and once you get on it, it's hard to get off. So try to stay away from it and set that time at later in the day where you can spend more time there. And you can even set a timer. It's a good idea to say, okay, I'm going to spend 10 minutes on this, because if you don't, all of a sudden it's been an hour and you're like, wow, I just wasted an hour on Facebook, and that's so easy to do sometimes. Examine how your time is spent for each day, for the week, and for the month. Are you doing those necessary assignments and the necessary task, and you're not wasting your time on doing some other things that could wait until later? Take mini breaks and longer breaks to recharge. It's so easy to sit down at your computer and get engrossed in a project, and then before you know it, 3 or 4 hours have gone by and you haven't moved. So again, set those reminders on your phone. Make sure you get up and either walk around the house, look out the window, go outside to the mailbox, whatever you need to do. Just take a few minutes to recharge. And finally, be realistic how long a task will take. A lot of times we want to think we can get grading done in an hour, but if we have a really large class, a really lengthy assignment, that it might be more realistic that that's going to take 3 or maybe even 4 hours to do that and give that some good quality focused time. And finally, we have some resources here that we want to share. The very first resource, you can go in and actually assess your own current work-life balance, and it kind of gives you some tips and tricks on how to improve. And as Sandra previously mentioned, we also have some meditation and mindfulness activities that you could also give a try. And we have our resources here if you're interested in checking into those. And we'd also just like to thank you for attending today. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to learn more about work-life balance, and we hope that you can take a few of those tips and tricks and apply them in your own life.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you again, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the presentations at this summit. Have a good one. Bye-bye.